November the 8th, we're finance committee meeting to get close, at least, to finalizing the 2022 budget. I think everybody's gotten a copy of the totals that Kelly has prepared for us all. And truly, that's, Kelly, you wanna just tell them what we got, what you've given to them here, so they'll know what they're looking at?
Yes, so this is one of the spreadsheets that we kind of put everything together with at the very end. It takes away, some of the clutter and all of that, and it just, gets it down to a comparison of last year's budget and 2022 requests. And I have gone through and updated everything with the 5% raise, and I have updated everything through the end date of 10/31/2021. So, those are the main, changes that affected almost every single budget. And then there were a few other ones. I don't know if you wanna go through them right now, or just as we go along, what would you prefer? Me to mention those now, or?
Go ahead and mention them if you like. If you haven't kind of listed, or at least in the back of your mind.
Yeah, I just, so when each department comes in and presents to you and gives you a copy of what they requested, if I have to change anything when this gets finalized, I try to make a list of it. So, we did go ahead and add the $25,000 in the jail budget for that one-time pilot program. Some kind of inmate pilot program that they were requesting. Something to do with ANC. You were saying.
Oh, that's right, yeah, I forgot about the jail.
Yes, yes.
It's a one-time shot thing.
Yes, and
Moment.
so that is something that got added after you saw that presentation. And then, Justice White and I and Amanda and Ms. Barbara from Senior Citizens met last Thursday and went over their budget, in detail, and how their, center works and all that stuff. And Amanda went back and did some changing to her revenues and her expenditures. So I have made those changes on here. When we first looked at their budget, they were, in the red about $157,000. We've gotten it a lot closer, and then, this morning, Justice White reminded me about, Amanda was gonna check on if they were getting some more, I don't think it's ARP money, I think it's just some kind of Corona Relief Fund money. And they are gonna get some, and so we're gonna be able to add a little bit more to their revenues, like about $43,000. So, as of right now, Senior Citizens still isn't balanced, but they are much closer than what we were the first time.
While you're on that, and Kelly and I talking with the two ladies, we noted how much that we're given, from the county, almost right at 50% of their budget, 50% of their revenues come from Mississippi County, around $300,000. At this point, the cities have not been contributing any financially. So I called the judge, right then, while the ladies were still with us, and told him what our circumstances were, and that we just weren't able to quite close the gap, at that point. And I asked the judge if he would talk to the mayors, and asked if the mayors could meet with, the ladies, from Senior Citizens, and then either himself or myself or both, and Kelly, and just tell them where we were at, and show them how much they were doing in each of the cities, and see if there was any way either of the cities could possibly help us financially, or help the senior citizens financially in their respective cities. When we looked at the number of meals, and Kelly, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it 44,000? But that was just 6 months, wasn't it?
I think so.
That they're providing in the county between everything, between in-house and Meals on Wheels. It was the number that they had in their numbers there was like 44,000 meals. And that's across the whole county and across all the programs and all. So I asked Amanda to actually break it down a little more and, kind of get a little closer on where they were going and who was doing what. You know, if they're doing 10,000 meals in Blyville and 6,000 meals in Osceola and of a total of maybe 4,400,000, just trying to get some kind of idea and asking for some kind of help. I think at almost 50% of the budget, we're about as far as we can go. We got down at one point, 10, 12 years ago, when the hospital got in such dire shape, the county got in rough shape, we got to less than $50,000. And now then we're back to $300,000. And I just feel like there ought to be some relief somewhere, from some of the other entities that you're serving. So we hope that we get it figured out here pretty quickly and get this put to bed in the next week. I haven't heard back from the judge whether the mayor's had the time to meet with us. We really needed them to meet this week sometime if they could. I'm sorry, Kelly.
Do we know if they deliver 7 days a week?
They do not. They deliver 5.
That's what I was thinking. That's a lot of meals for 6 months.
No, I really think the 44 may have been for the whole year. I think it was 22 for 6.
Was that what it was?
I think
44 for the whole year.
Okay, that sounds a little bit more reasonable, the number.
But now they also give, and I thought at one time she said something about on Fridays, they give them a couple of extra
They
things
do.
or
When they
something.
do the Meals on Wheels,
Yeah,
they'll get them through the week.
yeah, to get them through the weekend.
Or if they know bad weather's coming up.
Or that's right, yeah, they do a different type of meal, that's right.
Okay, well, that's still, that 22,000 for 6 months makes a little bit more sense mathematically.
So anyway, we're gonna try to see if we can get a little bit of help and get them a little bit closer. The feds and the states are the ones that's been cutting them. And we've been picking up whatever cuts they've been doing, we've been able to pick up, but we're just getting to the point where we really just can't fund the whole program. I'm sorry. So much for senior citizens.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, so we still need to look at that some more. And I added another, in the foreign court department budget, I added another person on the insurance, you know, to cover whoever takes the sickness spot. I did make the changes in county clerk and election that were requested, so the election coordinator still has her own department in that section, but she's only budgeted to be paid through June, through the end of June. And then in the county clerk's office,
And the new full-time spot.
yeah, we added a new full-time spot and then increased one of the spots up to, chief deputy. I went ahead and left the request that the health department asked for maintenance on our buildings, so I wasn't sure, where we were going with that, so that is included.
That's just a $3,500, is that what it was, 3,500?
I don't remember the exact amount, she asked for 2 or 3 different things, the pressure washing and some painting and sheet work, and that's the only one.
And the pressure washing, I mean, they can still do it, and then the lights, the night watcher lights.
Yeah, that's in there.
Yeah.
Keep her going, pressure washer.
Well, and one of the things when we looked at the building, we did think that, you know, gutters would probably alleviate a lot of that, bounce back onto the brick and.
Causing the algae growth.
Some of the earlier budgets that we looked at were only updated through August 31st, so when I went back and updated everything through October 31st, it changed some of the fund balances and, things like that, so I did have to change a couple of those to make sure that they balance. One was in the circuit clerk's office for Fund 3006, which is the Bible recorder, 25%, it's on page 13 and 14. Her revenues really needed to be increased a little bit after looking at updated numbers. And then she had, while she was doing her presentation, she had added, or wanted to add $4,000 to the public records bond. 3006.0102.3080. So that was put in there. The sheriff has a fund, it's 3410 fund, it's sheriff emergency operations. It is on page 19. It's just a small little fund and they don't get any revenue. So as the fund balance goes down a little bit, I had to decrease the expenditures in that section just so that we could balance there. I haven't gotten anything still from Judge Dean at the Osceola District Court, but I did hear from Judge Langston over the weekend. And what I did is I went ahead and did their budgets based on what we always do. We pay for half of the clerk's salaries, half of 3 of the clerk's salaries for each end. And the Chickasaw District Court clerks were getting a small increase. I don't know what the percent was or how much it was or how it was figured. I think they have longevity and some different things, so I didn't really take a lot of time to figure that out. But they were getting a raise, and I included that. And then there was a Justice Bridge charge. I think it's like $600 a year that helps the sheriff's department not have to transport people. So anyway, she asked for the county to pay that, and so I put that in there. And then for the Osceola District Court, I still have those numbers just carried over from last year. When the juvenile presented their budget, they had some requests. One was like $6,000 for a software line. That was in their juvenile service fund, so that has been put in to the budget. And that is Fund 3031. And that's on page 17. Yeah, it's on page 17. I just added a new line for software, 303104143003. $6,000 there. And there was also talk, I had some notes on adding a travel/transport type line to their budget. And from the discussion, I took it that it was supposed to be added to the county general part. And that is on page 9. Well, actually, page 8. Page 8, juvenile intake office for 1,000.0415. Got 3030 travel transport. There never was an amount discussed that I could find in my notes, but the sheriff had 10,000 in his transport, so I went with that number. So if that needs to be changed, just let me know. And on the prosecuting attorney's budget, right underneath the juvenile, that does not include the DPF position that they requested, because I don't think that was ever decided on. When I presented, or when Wayne was here to present, OEM and 911, OEM starts on page 9, just that next page down at the bottom. It's 1,000.0500. Anyway, when Wayne was here to do that, we had taken a big portion of his salary and put it in 911, because David left, and it left that money, and David was actually being paid a little bit out of OEM and 911, so we thought that it would be okay. But Wayne has informed me that there is, I think it's called EMPG, there's some kind of grant that they will pay a portion of his salary, but they only will pay it if it's being paid out of OEM. And it's almost his whole entire salary. Like, they'll pay up to, they'll reimburse us up to, I wanna say like $33,000. So I have put his salary back in OEM so that we can at least reap that benefit of getting that money back. And he's not on any kind of split anymore, it's just in OEM. Whenever I got finished looking, with the jail, I looked at what we needed to transfer from county general to jail to make it to make a balance, and it's a little bit less than last year, so it's 1.943. That is on page 10. At the very end of the county general stuff, 1,000.8888, those transfers. The transfer to senior citizens is what we normally do, it's like $26,150 a month for them. And then the transfer to jail, it kind of fluctuates every year, but it's a little bit down from last year.
You know, Kelly, back on OEM, we did make that move of, that dispatcher too, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that, yeah, so, but it's not OEM, so 911 already
Right.
paid for three dispatchers, they were agreeing to pay for 4, so that change has been made.
That kind of gave us some relief in the sheriff's jail budget.
Yes, that's right. We will pay them out of jail because our software, we will pay them out of jail, but every month there'll be a transfer that comes from Katie's office, which will just move money from 911 back over to jail.
Yeah.
So that does help a lot.
On that same page 10, that 888-4207 transfer to landfill fund, you didn't put a number in there.
Do you want me to?
That'd be nice. If you can get it by the rest of the group.
Can we put negative numbers in those numbers?
Yeah. And, let's flip back a few pages to other county, and that's on page 5, at the top. $1,000.0111. At the very end of that budget, the 4008, there's the site prep for the farmland, so that was added in there, $375,000. And last year we had Fund 1005, which was CARES Act. I did not include it this year. I don't think we're gonna have any activity. The fund that you just established last farm court meeting.
Revenue
you see that
loss.
too? Yeah, the revenue replacement fund, the ARPA. I have not put that on here, but there haven't been any appropriations, so I really didn't have anything to put on it. So I may do that before this is final, just to put it on there so it's in there. And then if you'll look on page 17, next to the last section on the bottom, the American Rescue Plan, the 3046 fund. This was the, like the 3.9 million or so that came in. Well, the only appropriations that have been made out of there were for the vaccine incentives, and there's 84 lines that had to go with that. So I did not put all of those on there. I just summed it up. The 47,989 is what was appropriated. We haven't spent all of that, so that's what can carry over to next year, the 22,586. And then, I think it was requested to put in something for senior citizens vehicles, so that's there. And that's really all. Everything else would be as it was presented or requested. The insurance was brought straight across from last year. I will have to make a change to senior citizens like I just talked about, so I know that is gonna be something that changes. And then, I don't know if you wanna talk about,
What he just mentioned? Or,
do I just need to, yeah.
no, we'll just add that line in there for the final.
And then, anything else? I think that's all of them.
Guys, think about the respective committee meetings now that y'all been in, and the budget requests that have been made in this committee, at various meetings. Is there any questions or any points that y'all had in your own committees, or you heard discussed in this committee that we haven't touched on? Neil, your landfill is self-sufficient and everything, so far. Molly, one of your biggies is energy and property. And, I know I think we got a lot of good things to do next year, but we don't know what they are
Yeah,
yet.
I think so. So I don't know if, you guys heard, I mentioned earlier that I did, visit the Reliable Health Unit, last week. I really feel like the building itself, it was built in 1990. It's approximately 10,000 square feet. It's in good shape. It's a brick building, the roof is in good shape, it's got architectural shingles on it. Um, Honestly, it's probably a little bit bigger than what they needed them, since with the design, but I cannot imagine building a new one, I think we can certainly make do with what we have. One thing that, I don't know that this is the time to mention it, but I did think if we did kind of an overhaul in the building, I don't know where they would move to.
Oh, yeah, if we just did a complete revamp,
Uh-huh.
then where would they temporarily locate? Well, we're fixing to move out of Bird Head, so.
Well, there we go. Exactly.
Could they possibly move to the hospital?
Well, that's just,
Yes.
I mean, that was the, that may be an additional expense, just for them to be somewhere else, but honestly, I think that would make the most sense. There's lots of potential with it, I think that they can, and she was really, Chris, was really excited about it. I know you guys probably haven't been there lately, it was exceptionally clean, she does a great job. I was really impressed with the staff and the things that they've got going on there.
And still got to look at Osceola.
Yes, I'm
She
still.
said about Osceola.
She feels like Osceola is in better shape than Blyville. The building itself is about 5 years newer than Blyville, so they're both about the same age.
Oh, really? Much better shape than us. We were saying this. Just, Donald, anything that, I know you met with the efficiency committee, is there anything coming out of that we haven't touched
Well,
on?
we probably will be coming back to start to look at the actual, all of the committees and see how efficiency they're running. If they're running up with the efficiency. We're still, seriously, that was kind of a joke for you guys, but y'all missed it. No, but seriously, we're going to, begin, we hadn't finished up with the, assessor, we're gonna have that meeting, we come back up and see what comes out of that. But just as far as everything else, we'll start looking just to see how we can be more efficient altogether, so I think we're going on the right track, though.
In
Really good.
touching on the insurance, we kind of briefly brushed it with we got no cost increase on our insurance this year, which was a great and wonderful thing. So we're bringing the insurance costs straight across. I was not present at the 4-hour insurance committee meeting last week. I'm sorry I missed that. But there was 2 or 3 different things that were discussed at that meeting. One of them was the possibility of either short-term or long-term disability insurance. I don't have any of the details on any of that at all, except to say that is a different issue other than the health insurance that we're doing, where we have to do health insurance right now. We can go back and add, if we chose to, anytime, January, February, July, we can add on a short-term or long-term disability type insurance, or just offer it up for the employees to pay on their own if they wanted to.
So explain to me, how would that interact with the program that we already have set up?
That way.
No, the one where after they,
Our catastrophic.
catastrophic,
lien
yes,
program.
yes.
You wanna touch that?
Well, I don't know how it would overlap or interact, or how, if we had some kind of short-term or long-term disability, I don't know what those rules and regs would be, but right now, anyone who has been there, I think you just have to be there a year, you have to have at least 10 days of vacation, and then you can donate. And you have to donate at least 1 day a year to continue to participate in it. And then if you're off, and you have no sick time or vacation, then we have a catastrophic, we have a catastrophic leave bank, but we have a committee that meets and reviews it and decides if you're eligible, and then if they approve it, then you get it, and it can be up to 6 months, I think.
So,
At no cost to the county.
right, and so we already have, I mean,
We've
it's
got
a.
our own in-house short-term
Okay,
disability.
okay, I just,
And that's one reason we haven't addressed this. Plus the fact that we already pay 100% of the healthcare cost in the benefit package, which very few other entities actually do. A lot of times, people that want long-term disability buy their own private contract with their own insurance company for that.
and so,
But now, I just know that the insurance company, or the insurance committee, did listen to and address some of that last week.
and so I felt like the Aflac was going, and that they were going to also give a quote on short-term and long-term disability as well.
Yes, they mainly do short-term, but she could do a group, she said that she could do a group long-term disability, she just didn't have those numbers, but they were supposed to sit on, they're supposed to.
The benefit of doing it that way for the employees is for them to get it pre-taxed. So that instead of getting it directly for their own insurance policy, if they do it this way, then they could get it pre-taxed, not have to pay taxes on that money that they pay for premiums.
But who pays for the premium?
I would say the employee personally. I'm not an advocate for the county to pay for that personally. But that would be the benefit that the county would be giving to their employees is if we made it available as a payroll deduct, they would not have to pay taxes on the premiums.
We've had presentations from after you left. We
Yeah,
had about
after
2 or 3,
I
4 presentations, long-term, short-term. So we are still in the process of getting all of that information back, coming back, and we definitely gonna bring that. My suggestion is to bring it to the full court, let all of us sit down, even though we're part of the insurance committee, and bring back the best, what would be best for the employees and working everything out. So I think it'll be in the next couple of meetings before we really just get it all worked out.
We've got 3 elected officials here.
Well, before you move on from insurance, that was one thing I needed to get cleared up today. So the insurance committee approved for us to just stay with the current plan.
Uh-huh.
And then, can we go ahead with open enrollment, or does it have to go to the,
No, I think we need to go ahead
I
and
would
open
say
enrollment.
no.
okay.
Is there anybody opposed to carrying the insurance cost and staying, because we got 3, 6, 7 out of 11 here right now. I think the other, committee members that were at the insurance committee were in favor of it. It came out of that committee at least, with that recommendation. So that's at least 9 of us, so is anybody opposed to going ahead and opening enrollment on that?
And is it fine to just stay with what we have going on right now with Aflac doing open enrollment and not anybody else until?
I think that's what we're gonna do now, is basically stay with what we got until we get all the information and then make the best changes to benefit the employees. So,
Okay,
So that would be a yes, we're gonna stay like we are with that, right?
okay, we'll go forward.
we'll get it all worked out. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I have to flip over to Medicare this year. If you tell me that
You're too young for that.
it's disability Medicare.
Well, folks, we had that discussion 2 or 3 years ago, getting people over on the Medicare, and it has helped us tremendously. That's the reason our rates didn't go up.
And
Not
I
all
really.
those old people off of it.
And I really have to give Justice Surge a lot of credit on
I tell you
that.
folks, I've been through, y'all all know, I have not received a bill from anybody.
Yeah.
And I've been through a lot. I've had a lot of doctor's appointments and everything. I have not received a bill from anybody. It's the best thing in the world for the employees.
You know,
And it helps the county too, but boy, for the employees, it's the best thing in the world.
well, you made that remark at that time, and I was honestly just then age eligible, and so I made that jump, and I've been very happy.
Oh, it's remarkable.
But no, that's what I was gonna say, I really feel like this was instrumental in giving people the confidence to make that change.
He did make it.
Well, it really, I mean,
Thank you for
it
that.
is, yeah, but I mean, to see those numbers, I mean, it's tremendous. I think the people from Stevens were even, I mean, they were even surprised at, you know.
The
what
change,
client-
difference it made.
Yes,
And we had
yes.
30-something employees went over, didn't we?
We don't have that many on there now, I don't think. But yeah, we had a lot that did it at the very beginning. I don't think we still have that many.
Okay, so we do have at least 3 elected officials here today, and in our discussions, like, Ms. Clark, Janice, have you, you heard that we included the changes that you made, with your personnel and everything? Are you satisfied with your office? Have we touched everything that you wanted touched?
I think so. At some point, I may have to add a little bit of overtime for my election coordinator.
Is that in your general account or in your automation account?
There's $7,500 in regular.
So funny. Not much, but, you know, a couple of
Yeah,
thousand
no,
or so.
Yeah, we got a big election year coming up here pretty quick, so. Ms. Peggy, ma'am?
I just have a question on the senior citizen, the vehicles, when's that money gonna be appropriated, or has it already been
It
appropriated
has not been appropriated, it's in this new budget,
for next year?
yes. We've got $100,000 line item in the budget out of that American Rescue Plan Fund. And, yeah, you're the one that needs to be very aware of that, because all that goes through your office. And, so where we're at with that, the last I knew, Justice Ash was gonna be kind of getting with the energy and property and the senior citizens group and talking about exactly which vehicle we would be looking at and exactly what that cost would be. There was some discussion of just some small car vehicle type, but we didn't think that would be adequate. Justice Jackson was looking, and I think Justice McClanahan were both looking at more of the small delivery truck style that would carry more meals and racks and stuff. So
Yeah.
Justice Ash was gonna be working with them on the state bid list to see what would be available and exactly how much money. So the $100,000 was truly an arbitrary figure. Just trying to make sure we had enough. We were talking up to 3 probably. But, no, we haven't appropriated anything for 21 that goes in the 22 budget right now.
So, I mean, did y'all want us to verify that that was
Yes, please.
okay to spend it on that? I
Yes,
mean, I
ma'am.
remember, seems like, you know,
Be nice to know beforehand.
they're still talking about
Changes.
changes. But I just wanted to make sure when it was gonna be done, because we do have some more reporting to do by the end of January. And every time we spend money, we have to, someone has to write a little thesis kind of on what and why we're spending the money. So I just wanted to make sure.
We gotta verify and justify. And we wanna dot our i's and cross our t's, because there is recourse on this, and if we misspent, say we bought 3 vehicles for $100,000 and then found out it didn't qualify, then it falls back on the county to reimburse that. So, yes, no, if you would please, verify that would be a reasonable, expenditure. Sheriff? With all your budgets and everything, have we touched on everything you cared for and wanted?
I'm pleased right now. I'm just, thankful for the board's working well with us, and, this new reorganization, I think is gonna be wonderful. Help the county out in the long run, so. Right now, we're at 100% field, I think. I may have lost one jailer or something last week, so, but overall, it's gonna help us maintain our employees. Particularly if we move forward with the next year on this other thing.
Guys, go to the very last page, page 22. And this is where it gets down to the nitty gritty, and this is the best I've ever seen for Mississippi County, ever. And I've been here a while. Our expense grand total of all funds, as we presented them today, is $35,500,350.77. Our revenue grand total, now this is including the $27,816,693 of projected revenues, and then the various fund and CD balances of an additional $25,989,993.91. And I've seen these numbers not reversed, but I've seen them where they did balance and where the expense total was greater than the revenue total. And that's when we have to go back to the elected officials and look at them and say, guys, we need another 10%, or we need another 5%. And every elected official would dig and find and change and cut. And we had a wonderful group to work with. They brought us through. So it's makes me very proud to see where we're at today. We have a fundable budget as presented. We'll make the minor adjustments as we go along, and it won't be very much. Does anybody have any exceptions or points to make? Tom, I'm gonna put you on the spot for just a second as a representative of the judge's office. Anything out of the judge's office that you know of?
I just looked through, compared what we submitted, what's on here. The only difference is that 375 for the farm. So it looks like exactly what we asked. I have a question, just because I don't know. The projected revenues, is that 90% of projected? Is that it? On that bottom?
Digestible? I'd like to remind everybody that we have moved our regular monthly quorum court meeting to the last Tuesday of this month, due to the holidays, and we knew that several JPs would not be available on the scheduled meeting of November the 23rd. So we moved our regular monthly quorum court meeting to Tuesday, November the 30th, which will be at Burdette. Today's the 15th. Before we made, today is the 8th. Before we made the move, and we were on the 23rd, Tuesday the 23rd, our regular business quorum court meeting would have been next week on the 15th. And unless we move it, it still is. We usually try to make it the Monday before the regular meeting, and that gives us enough time to do appropriation ordinances, resolutions, etc. Do y'all want to leave it at next Monday on the 15th for a regular monthly meeting, or do you want to move it to the 22nd, or does it matter?
The 22nd was the week that they weren't gonna, we weren't, a lot of us.
And a lot of them wasn't going to be here on the
Yeah.
23rd for sure. So just go ahead and leave regular quorum court. Our business finance committee meeting is next Monday on the 15th. And at that time, any adjustments that's been made or any changes that's been requested or anything in the budget, we can also address and still have a little bit of tweaking time if we need to. Satisfactory there, Bob? Cindy, you got anything for us?
No, sir.
Kelly, anything else?
What do you want to do besides, I mean, do you want just like any updates on budget next week and then just monthly expenditures and just regular business?
Mhm.
Nobody needs to see anything or do anything.
Anybody got any special requests of Kelly for next month's meeting? Or next week's meeting, excuse me? This has been the smallest, shortest meeting we've had since we started this process.
I really like the format of this.
I do too.
Well, she asked me,
Really,
would this be simpler, and I said, it's much easier to read.
it's great
You don't get lost.
compared to what we had in the past.
And I don't have a way to do them in the software, so the only thing is manually doing all of these spreadsheets, so.
Really, what she does is she's got this one magic button on her computer. And so she got up yesterday morning and pressed that magic button at 9 o'clock and just put this together.
Well, I'd like to have a button.
But it took her close to midnight for her to get it finished.
All that stapling.
You know, so for every hour that we spend in these committee meetings, I would bet that Kelly spends close to 30 getting ready for that 1 hour of meeting here in the committee. I just wanted y'all to know that because she we couldn't do it without her, and the elected officials and Peggy, Peggy's her backbone back there. But this doesn't just happen. I mean, this is hard work on these ladies' parts, and I just don't know what we'll do without them.
Sheriff, you were gonna give us on your cars, you were gonna find the mileage.
We got that, we have to, I don't have anything to pass out about that, we got it.
Okay.
You talking about in case we wanted to do extra?
Well, right, yeah, let just see how many, yeah.
You know, that's something in the rescue plan.
I know, but I also think
It can get you in trouble.
the 18 months, you know, they said the price would probably readjust in about 18 months.
Mhm.
So certainly something we could, maybe,
Everything's spiking.
you know, if you don't have, depending on where his mileage was, you know, if we could wait the 18 months, then that would be ideal. And then do more with the rescue money and just kind of plan.
Very quickly, before we adjourn, I'm gonna put you on the hot spot. What about our courthouse?
Well,
You're not smiling like you have the rest of the year.
no, I mean, I guess it's just kind of moving slow. I'm just being honest with you. It's moving a little slower than what I think,
It's like building a house.
Then we
The
have-
worst part is the last part.
that's right. And I feel like, and I mentioned this to you, you know, in one of the meetings, I feel like, you know, just kind of bear with us because again, this will be the product that we're left with. You know, I think we can rush it right now and get the contractor finished, but I don't know that that's really what
Our
we wanna
best
do.
interest.
I don't know that, you know, I know, that furniture is still projected to be here the week after Thanksgiving. I still am very much under the opinion that we would be better off to store it somewhere else off-site to make sure that we got a clean building than we would be just to hurry and rush it in. So it's kind of, Aaron, I think will be here, next Tuesday, so we'll have a better update for you then.
So you're gonna have a, energy and property?
And he's gonna confirm, I'm not gonna say that just yet, we were texting a little while ago, but tentatively next Tuesday.
Cindy, any other, committee meetings that you're aware of at the moment?
Not right now.
Well, I don't plan on calling any.